I hope I'm not late to the party. Just trying to get things started up here. Is it working? Yay. Alright. Cool. Nice. We'll just wait for everyone to kind of show up here and see how y'all are doing today. It's been a while since we've been in the shop, right? Been a while since we've been in the shop doing live. I just want to stop by and say hi, see how things were going. I am like tired. I mean, like doing a lot of CAD work, doing a lot of building. The printing is taking forever, and it's just insane. Truly insane. How fast things are going, but how slow they end up being. At the end. I'm gonna fly this plane today after the live. I'm gonna go down to the park. Kind of hoping that this particular one will stay up with a 4S battery in it. We're gonna find out because it's got that little 4100 kV motor on it. So it's either gonna be cool or funny as hell. So I'm just gonna hang out. It's like Monday morning, everyone's at work, and I do a live. Probably not one of my smartest choices. Hey, how's it going? Well, Reds, not smart. Why am I not smart? No smoking. It's just tobacco, don't worry. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, son. Welcome, Roll. Probably like a distinguished gentleman. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Nah, you gotta have the tobacco and coffee and just relax for a little bit. Unemployment and poverty is the world's big subjects. Well, hey, I mean, I fit both of those categories, so what the hell, right? Oh, it ain't about fame for me, though. I'm just doing some science stuff, experimental propulsion, that kind of thing. Like the fan behind me. It's actually a working 340 millimeter fan for the big drone I'm building. But it's more or less, it's gonna take so long to print because of how big I made the engines, and it is live and active. Yes. One who poses. Welcome to the chat. Uh, I'm just like burnt out from waiting because we're talking like this fan behind me. It's functional, but I've got to do 3 more. the body is taking forever. Like even just a quarter or half of 1/4 of the body is a day and 5 hours. On the X1 carbon to print, it's gonna take forever. Yeah, social media is mirrors. Gives me a chance to talk to people, get to know the people, air my grievances with this the speed of additive manufacturing, and you know, just hang out and talk, chat, see how the world's doing. What was that about 4D? Virtual world, real world differences. Well, yeah, it's a good point. It's actually a deeper point than I was hoping for at 11:30 in the morning. But hey, why not, right? Let's go 4D. I hope you're all doing good. This is just a chat, just a hangout. This something we can just relax and talk about whatever. Everyone's afraid of the draft and all that other stuff, and it's like, dude, we're not going to war. If we are, then it's going to be short and sweet. Especially if Iran's the only one going into it. But hey, what do I know? I'm to the point where I don't care what they do. I really don't. So no smoking. How come you want me to smoke? My health, or just because people are watching? I mean, do you tell somebody that's smoking a cigarette at the bus stop, stop smoking? People are driving by. It's all a public venue, right? So, if you don't like tobacco, I get where you're coming from, but I mean, I'm not blowing it in your face. The Industrial Revolution and its consequences. I think we're seeing that, like, now. Are you going to fire up the MPC and see? I got to deburr that metal that you brought over. And then I'm going to clear it off later today and get the heat sinks cut out for the motor, so that the motor doesn't burn up the PETG from the back end when it gets too hot. So we're talking 9,800 RPMs off of this thing. And the lights are going to make it look really cool in the air. So, I mean, 4 of those big ass fans right there. That's going to be cool. That's a big ass drone. I put out a video where I kind of did like a assembly over time up to this point, and I guess it's just not the genre people are hoping for, like Gorilla Glue in the hair or somebody falling off a skateboard who tried to rail slide a handrail and caught it in the grapes or something like that. I don't understand it. Where I don't have a nice pair of breasts or something to show everyone. Whatever, it's just what it is. It's science, it's printing, it's assembly. People either are watching or they're not. I don't care. I'm to the point where I don't care. But it's been interesting because of a steady increase in subscribers, which is nice. I did get monetized finally, so that's definitely a move in the right direction. So you can all do memberships and I think super stickers and stuff. I'm not even sure. I don't even know how that stuff works. Someone buy a sticker. Anyway. So yeah, you can become members if you want to support the channel, and eventually we'll get to the point where I'm kind of including STL files and things like that for people who are interested in building some of the same stuff that I'm working on. Yeah, the MPCNC is going to go up next for sure, because that's going to be, what was that? This 1/8 inch steel or 1/8 inch aluminum or something like that that you brought over. I think I can get all 4 heat sinks out of that. We're going to see what happens. I'm taking some of my PETG and I'm doing a mock-up of the heat sink, and then I'm going to kind of trace it out on the aluminum and see how and where I want to do my lead-ins so that I can do the cutting on it. 3/16. That works. And it's realistically just because the outrunner, you can't really you can't heat sink an outrunner from the outside unless it's an extremely balanced heat sink. So basically I'm using since the front end of the motor is what bears most of the heat against the PETG motor mount, I created this kind of fanned out heat sink. So it'll be within the airflow of the fan and mitigate that heat before it gets transferred to the PETG, which is good because when you're pushing the motors close to 80 to 100 amps, you want to make sure, especially at 75 volts, that you get rid of that heat. Because that'll just, I've seen it melt the PETG and the screws just slowly turn inside the PETG as it's cutting its way through. So yeah, that's what I'm doing at this point. So I'm printing up the mock-up. I'll trace it out and make sure we got all what we need, and then I'll get that bit up there, get dropped off. I gotta go get the collet, or no, order the collet. I have to order the collet, and then put it on the Makita. Fire it up. Well, I'll get the tool path done and then fire it up. But like I said before, I'm just here to chat and hang out, talk about whatever. You guys are going to see a video later of either this flying really, really well or only for a few seconds. Either way, it will take to the air, even if it ends up landing abruptly. So we'll see what happens. They wanted it, they said it runs 3/4S. So, it's capable of 4S, just the weight of the battery is a little bit more. So I'm going to do my best to get the CG right. And I'm just gonna basically toss it and throttle up and see what happens, and hopefully not lose a finger when it goes past this tri-prop. I'm just gonna throw it first, then I'm gonna throttle up. And then cross my fingers. This is Alive, and welcome to it, Arian. Arian? Is it Arian? Is it meant to sound like Arian? I don't want to get the name wrong. This is more of a chat and hang out to get to know people, just to talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you like the content of the channel that this is attached to, then great, that's awesome. You can enjoy it and check out the playlist. We're going to be doing some flying of this plane later, like I said. I'll put that video up later. I would do it live, but I can't do it live at the location I fly at because there's no signal. So there's no way to do it live. Otherwise I would. But yeah, I'm just hanging out today. Waiting for the printer to do its thing. Literally, the drone's huge. So literally one piece can take anywhere from 10 hours. And this is on an X1 Carbon, which is a fast printer. Anywhere from 10 hours to even just 1/2 of 1/4 of the body frame, 1 day and 5 hours. And that's on an X1 Carbon. So it gives you an idea of the scale of the actual drone. It's huge. It's 5 feet by 5 feet with 4 of the 340mm fan.
Okay, you're seeing the chats.
Yeah, I'm looking at them. I'm on the same delay as everybody else is, so because I'm having to watch the chat through my tablet. because I'm doing the vertical this way. So, oh, come on. Okay, there we go. But yeah, this is more or less just me hanging out and doing sort of a community chat with everyone to see, you know, who's interested in what's going on the channel. And it gives people an opportunity just to chat if they want to chat, talk about whatever they want to talk about. Me personally, this is my hobby. This is what I do. I like to create things, so, and that's what spawned this beast right here, which I still need to get all the screws for, so I can put this front hub back on. So this is an 11 blade high pass EDF system right here. And it's going to have these lights all the way around it on each one of the motors. But the footprint of the whole drone is 5 feet by 5 feet. We're running 75 volts. So it's an 18S system. And it's 9,800 RPMs per motor. What else? 10,000 milliamp pack for testing. Eventually it's going to move to a hydrogen system. So that we have a longer flight time. Body's big enough to hold 2 tanks. And a PEM membrane that will supply the voltage and amps that I need for the system. So you've got that going on. I've got this going on for fun. Because it seems like I feel like I can do the tech stuff in the garage. I can do the assembly. I can do the creating of the drone. I could even show the CAD work if I wanted to. But it seems like I have to do something within 15 seconds that's either extremely ridiculous or wholeheartedly stupid in order to get anyone's attention nowadays. Because no one's interested in the science. They don't want to see how this is built. They just want to see fly. Does it look cool? Yeah, I got my dopamine fix. And then nobody really pays too much attention to the rest of the videos, or the rest of the video that kind of explains how we got up to that point. So, you know, I guess that's just the way of YouTube. It's like, you know, it's the way it works. High tech level. Do you have plans to use mini jet engines? No, I have plans on just using the 340 millimeter one that's sitting behind me. 4 of them. Stopping by for a minute or two. Welcome to it, S3. How you been? Glad you could stop by. Now, I was going to use... I've done mini jet engines before. If you go to the Shrike Concept Drone or Concept Drone playlist, you'll see where I kind of went from where I originally... some crazy design I originally wanted, all the way through to the end where you have the V10 Maiden. And that is with 70 millimeter EDF engines off of a 40 Speedy B F405 wing. But the amps were too high. So I had to marry an APD 500X, which was a 500 amp power distribution board at 22.2 volts. Actually, it could take higher voltage inputs, but the point is, I had to marry that to the Speedy B, and then I could run the amps for all 4 EDFs. Now that's a fun playlist because it kind of shows you the journey of me going, okay, I know what I want to do. Now I got to go back and learn how EDFs work with a flight controller. So yeah, it was very educational, and the drone ended up being a lot of fun to kind of fly around. And I was running it on a 6,000 milliamp 100C graphene LiPo battery, so, you know, 4 or 5 minutes, good flight time. Not bad. Kept it in angle mode because I'm no acro pilot. I wanted to keep it in one piece, you know, which ultimately I didn't do because, of course, everything's so expensive. I kind of had to recycle what I had. So when I moved on to the Javelin project, which is still on the table because I'm building motors for that, I had to kind of rob everything from the Shrike and put it on the Javelin. I didn't want to have to do that. But, you know, you do what you got to do. This stuff's expensive. But it's a sacrifice that had to be made. So I got a good flight out of it. I proved that I could do it with EDFs and make it stable. And you know, so now I'm applying that same logic to this engine here, because I didn't want to spend $5,000 on a big Schuler EDF. So I just basically took a 7070 Flipski motor from a freaking skateboard and ran it through an 18S pack. Give me 75 volts, plenty of thrust for each one of these turbines, which is all completely 3D printed from PETG, the whole thing. And if you go back on any of the 340 millimeter playlists or shorts that I have out there, you'll see I did spin-ups with the original setup. And that was this original casing and stuff that I put together for the original setup for the testing. We're still going to use this to drop a kielbasa into this thing to see how the blades fare, you know. But I told myself I was going to use nothing but Bamboo Lab PETG. And I'm going to be honest with you. When it came down to printing PETG, and it could have been just the pigment. I don't know if that made a difference. Can I print on the print? I could probably double this size right here. I could probably go to 680 on the diameter. But what I was saying was, basically I found out, I'm thinking Bamboo Lab PETG is going to be sweet, right? It comes out pretty clean. It's not bad. This is all Bamboo Lab PETG. But the Creality's PETG, and it could have been, I don't know if the pigment changes the way it prints. I have no idea. It may or may not. On the bottom end of the blade, it came out much cleaner than it did with the translucent PEG from Bamboo Labs. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. Overture, same thing. Not as rough on the bottom side of that blade. And ultimately, the blades did come out clean, you know, not with a lot of problems whatsoever, balanced well, and it works just fine. But I'm going to be honest, I think the Creality printed a lot cleaner. It printed a lot cleaner. And I'm anxious to try their translucent PETG if they have any. Osama, love the name. How you doing? Welcome to the chat. Sorry if there's a delay. I will get to you if you said hi. It's because I'm on the same delay as you guys are when it comes to the chat and the video. So I definitely will get to that. But yeah, the idea behind this was, go with straight bamboo stuff. I'm using a Bamboo X1 carbon. And I'm not saying that their stuff doesn't print well. It was just something about that extreme angle of if you can see how I have a very high pitch close to the end of the blade. So the underside is a little bit rougher than I would want. I changed the nozzle out because I had a couple thousand hours on that other one. But, and it made a little bit of a difference, but the underside of the other fan came out so much cleaner. This stream is about basically just hanging out and talking, getting to know people, and hoping that they look at the rest of the channel and go, hey, I like this kind of content. I'm experimenting with different types of propulsion, making my own 3D printed propulsion systems, and eventually making very large drones and other aircraft for fun. And if that's the kind of content you like, then this is where you're at. Yes, there's been a lot of videos where a lot of my stuff has been in the garage because I've been building. I want to get out and fly some more to get you guys some flight videos. That's what this is for. So I kind of just threw this out of the printer, put it together. It's ready to go, but I'm running it with a 4S battery, so it is going to be a little bit heavier. And then I thought about, after we fly this, there is no reason why I can't double its size. The printer can handle it. So I can double the size of this, and it'll probably be easier for me to fly, because these smaller ones are a bit finicky. But yeah, this is just, hey, it's all about just bringing in the community and saying, you know what, this is what I'm doing. It's cool if you like it. Eventually you guys can get the Shrike STL files. Actually, the first Shrike concept drone STL files, I believe, are already available on the Buy Me a Coffee link shop. I charged $3 for the STLs because I did all the work. I have a components list there for you for everything you need. The APD board, the 500X, they no longer sell commercially to hobbyists. So that's the only change that would have to be made, is you'd have to find another power distribution board that could handle 500 amps at 22 volts, and you'd be fine. I went ahead and did, a thing and became a company. And I LLC'd for the purpose of making sure that I could go ahead and order those boards, so that I can go, okay, the people who want to download the STL and make this drone, they can get the rest of the stuff off of Amazon, but they can't get the power distribution board now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to order a bunch of the power distribution boards. I'll include their price on the shop eventually, and then when you buy the STLs and the components list and all that other stuff, then you can buy the board. So that's what I'll do, is because APD just, at one point they were like, we're not selling them to the hobbyist market, so now I'm gonna have to buy like 100 of them and then keep them on hand so that I can give them, sell them to you guys if you want to build a Shrike, concept drone. It's not about, anybody who's an acro pilot will probably have better luck with it, because what you see in the video is you see me flying around in the park with it very conservatively, because it was a maiden flight. But you can see how much power it does have, and in angle mode, anybody who's ever flown a drone knows in angle mode, it cuts the RPMs down significantly for the purpose of stabilization. But if you're a good acro pilot, you're going to be doing some serious maneuverability and a whole lot more speed than what I demonstrated in the original Maiden. So it could be a very fun drone. We found Waldo again. Here's Waldo. Waldo! Everyone say hi to Waldo. 100% DPC found Waldo. Oh, I can't do like the hearts and stuff? That sucks. Do I have to refresh my chat? Okay. Yeah, we got Waldo. We got Waldo. We found Waldo. Waldo's alive. Remember me, I was a long time ago finished my GCSE now. I remember the name, Science World. You finished your GCSE? Yes, you were doing, what was it that you were doing? I'm sorry, there's so many names, I forget. You were doing a test, I think it was. And you were getting qualified for something, unless I'm mistaken. Please clarify. Tell me what's going on, man. Catch me up. Yes, Waldo. Waldo, the name Waldo, it holds a place of honor in American history. Anybody who's ever seen Waldo in his red and white striped sweater and his beanie will know who I'm talking about. But yes, Drone Power Concepts has found Waldo. Oh, you went to NASA. Dude, cool. Congratulations, man. That's awesome, dude. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. That's totally awesome. I'm that's the step in the right direction right there. Yeah. Now maybe you can give me some decent motors. Just go to JPL and say, look, he needs some hydrogen turbines. Do we have any lying around? It's just a thing we're trying to do, you know? I would have thought a disposable FDM heavy lift drone would have been something that NASA would have been interested in, but I guess it's not. I guess it's just going to stay with the drone enthusiast market until it becomes the SAROP drone that I'm trying to make it. Because search and rescue is what's interesting. It's important, you know, and disasters, and that's what this is for. South Africa and Waldo is my yes. We know Waldo. Waldo's been hiding in South Africa. Engineering from getting paid a year to get my license and to do ADF. You know what? That's a lot. Certainly a lot more than I make on vet benefits. I'll tell you that much. That's awesome, dude. Well, then you can be my pilot. Bring a parachute. Because when this thing goes full scale, yeah. You can ride it. You can be the first one to ride the turbo bike. Yeah. Either way, that makes you a very valuable asset. Yeah, you know how to operate. You might not fly them, but you know how to operate them. It's like, don't diminish that at all, because you've made a huge accomplishment. You don't want to sit there and go, it's like, you know, and I can't fly the rockets, but I could totally build them and launch them. I mean, that's a big thing, man. Just watch that hypergolic fuel. It's a little nasty. I could add in brushless. What do you mean? What do you mean the brushless? To what? The fan behind me? You asked NASA if you could go to ISS. The manager laughed. Wait, hold on. Nowhere near because he started. You know what? That's messed up. Hey, but that's initiative right there. That's what you got to do. You got to go up to him and it's like, you know what? I just started here. I would like to go to the ISS. It's a legitimate question. I mean, they're going to say no, of course, but why not ask, right? They might go, you know what? We need somebody up there. So, you know, because this guy, Bill, or whatever. I mean, come on. You had a 50-50 shot of them going, you know what? Why not? We need somebody up there. Yeah, the brushless, I have one. I'm running a 110 kilovolts Flipsky 7070. That's what I run this engine on. And you'll see that in the torture test video that I did with the 22 blade version. That was sitting on a bucket because it's too big to sit on anything else. So yeah, this has a motor mount and does fit a very, very big motor. Well, not a very big one. Let me grab it. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's an 18S motor. It's fairly torquey. So it's that one. So it's not. It's an 18S motor. It is a Flipsky motor. It runs on 75 volts, and it gives me the RPMs I'm looking for. At 75 volts, we're talking 9,800 RPMs roughly, and that is what's going to be running this. And that's what I ran in the other videos when I did the tests. Yeah, well, you know my email. So without getting into trouble, I'll be happy to you just show them my channel and tell them, hey, this guy, he's making some cool stuff. It's cheap, it's disposable, it's FDM printed. You know, get my foot in the door with my designs. Oh, well, that's interesting. I knew the ISS was going to be deorbited eventually, but Voyager 1 hitting asteroids outside of the heliosphere? Isn't it outside the heliosphere now? No, don't ask him for a friend for a job. Just point out the channel and say, hey, you know what? This guy's making some cool stuff. He could be coming up with some rockets and machines for you guys. I mean, hey, Bill Gates did Microsoft in his garage. And I'm no Bill Gates, but I mean, I'm no Bill Gates because I don't want to vaccinate you to death. I just want to actually build stuff that people could use and love. Something useful for the society. I mean, come on. Eventually, I'm going to build a flying car. That's all there is to it. And the reason why is because the flying cars they have now have huge props. And I keep saying it, if you can imagine people all having flying cars and then trying to get into a Black Friday sale at Target, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's like, I need to park. All the people waiting to get in. Go for it. I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm on the same delay as everybody else, so forgive me if I answer late. But tell me something. You guys can become members now. You're like, why do we want to become members? Because I asked nicely? Because I have a beautiful smile? Well, we have found life on a certain planet's rock. Someone called and named the moon. We found small molecules of life. Well, I mean, yeah, of course. I'm sure there's microbacterial life somewhere out there where there's water present. So, yeah, I mean, it's not out of the realm of feasibility for sure. But I mean, hell, let's get invaded. I was hoping for a zombie apocalypse, but I'll take an alien invasion. Either way, I'm ready for it. Hey, Glory, how's it going? I know Glory's ready for it too. So yeah, bring them on. It doesn't matter what kind of alien. Bring them on. Science, don't take any offense. In his defense, he has been testing for a while to pass a lot of different things. Although I don't know about the whole, I am skeptical about the life thing being found on other planets. Anything outside of microbial life where there might be any kind of liquid water. That's feasible if there's an oxygenated atmosphere or CO2. But nothing like, I mean, let's be real. If there were aliens out there that had such vast technology, how do you travel and traverse the galaxies to get to our solar system, for one, and then with all of that technology, you hit the frickin' planet? So yeah, I mean, it's like the idea behind any intelligent life out there is it's kind of far fetched in the sense that you would think if we're such a young species and somebody way out there, 100,000 light years or so, sent out a signal that would have taken that long to get here, let's say, according to our physics, then, it would have been one of those situations where the signal would have been sent long before we existed. So let's say it's that kind of scenario. Why would they even send it towards Earth unless it's some sort of omnidirectional signal, just like a generalized one? Yeah, it's time dilation, and that's a typical scientific um, thing we're fully aware of as far as that goes. Theoretical in nature, obviously, since we can't travel that fast, but the science does show that's what would happen. You'd have a form of time dilation. And it's because you know, you're changing the first off, anything traveling close to the speed of light that has any mass whatsoever is going to encounter gravitational forces beyond anything we can comprehend. Hey Connie, how's it going? Welcome to the chat. But yeah, time would pass differently, and I feel like people have watched Interstellar a lot and have sort of gleaned that information because of, and that's what I'm talking about when it comes to YouTube. I can put the science out all day on this thing that I've been working forever on printing, and you've seen me testing other versions of it. But unless it's like put in an entertaining kind of Hollywood base where something catastrophic happens, nobody wants to pay attention to it past But everybody in turn now understands the idea behind time dilation around a gravitational well that's different than the one in our solar system and how it affects space-time. Now everyone's interested in that because it was on a movie in Hollywood. Yeah, I guess I got to get into a movie on Hollywood just to, get people interested in the fan. It's taken a long time for me to get this thing printed. So getting it in the air being outside and getting it in the air is going to take a little while because we're talking a long time just to print the one fan. And I've got to do 3 more. Plus the ductwork and the body. What are we talking about? We are talking about whatever you want to talk about. Welcome to the chat, Dennis. And we are just, discussing the projects that I've been doing. We're talking about space. We're talking about life on other planets. We're talking about intelligence on other worlds and the lack of it here on this planet. Elber Gonzalez, welcome to the chat. You want to land on the moon someday? That would be cool. I think that'd be fun. With my luck, I would be like bouncing through the 1/6 gravity, trip on a rock, and then go hurtling off the planet or the moon, and that'd be it. That's how it would end for me. 1,000 years later, Voyager 2 would slam right into me. Destroy what's left of my frozen remains. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, doing the weather balloon. TPC, the Peacekeeper. Am I the Peacekeeper? Yes. My 3D printed stealth strike drone being developed for the United States military. Just kidding. If they want to buy it. They probably won't. What'd you tell me ages ago? See, that's the thing with my ADHD brain. I'm so into the projects that I'm doing now that whatever you told me ages ago, if I didn't write it down, then I'm not going to remember it. Nothing personal. It's just the way my brain works. And if I did write it down, I can't remember where I put it. Yeah, I know about the exams. I was like telling you I was proud of you that you passed the exams that you were talking about. This was a while ago too. You've been working on it for a long time. And I think I remember having this conversation with you. I told you, I said, man, I know it seems rough, but you can do it. You can do it. And I think I believe I was encouraging you that, don't give up. Just do it, man. Do what you know. In his defense, Gloria, I do remember the conversations, and it's been going on for months. And he's been telling me about what test he was taking now, and then the next test he had to take, and if he's making it, he's making it. Let's be proud of him. Now, I get your skepticism about the life on other worlds that we found. That I totally get. But I mean, he is doing the tests, he is doing the work. If he's making it in this world, I'm proud of him. Most people can't. So yeah, he's. I remember those conversations vaguely, but I remember them. I just remember you talking about a bunch of different tests that you had to do, and then you had to go to sleep because you were watching the stream, and you had to go to bed because you had the test in the morning, and you were worried about it. Glory. When it comes down to what I do, we all know my limitations are capital. So, and I think that there's a reason why. Not just because I'm on that benefits or that, nobody wants to hire me because they never know when my leg is going to go out on me or my disc is going to protrude out of my spine, and then I'm not going to be able to walk for a week. So nobody wants to hire anyone in that condition. So it's like I'm stuck at the 50% mark, and so I'm like thinking to myself, do I put together proposals? Do I take the design that I have and go, this is what I want to build it for? Does anyone want to fund it? That kind of thing. And I hadn't thought really too much about how to do that because I was kind of hoping that I could just get it done myself. And I'm starting to realize how expensive it is to get some of these motors and ESCs and all the electronics because of how expensive everything is. And so it does, yeah, it's going to take some time. So am I glad that I made it to the mark where, you guys can become members and do super stickers and chats and thanks and stuff like that? I'm glad I got there, but I doubt anyone's going to use them. I'm not that popular. So eventually I know I will be, hopefully, but it isn't for the fame. And so that I can keep the work going. I'm retired Army. And this is what I'm doing. I've got a freaking bullet hole in my right knee, and I still have fragments in my arm, and this huge, scar from where I got hit by shrapnel here, and just, tinnitus like crazy. I'm just focusing on other things, stuff I like to do finally, engineering, flight, creating new things. So it gets me stuck in the garage, and and I have to build this stuff before I can fly it, which is the 15 seconds I'm talking about that the entire world is interested. As you go on YouTube, if something awe-inspiring or catastrophic hasn't happened in the first 10 to 15 seconds, nobody watches the video. I don't get it. But do I do an ambience video where I just choose some music and spin this fan slowly for people to go to sleep to? I don't know what to do next on that one. But I have a lot of people that are interested in the content, but I get it. They want to see something fly. So go back and watch some of the videos where I flew stuff. And then this will be flying next, hopefully this afternoon, and I'll get the video out to you. Because I'm desperately curious to see what happens with this one. Do I have a corporate website? Was that question for me, Lori? Or was that for Science World? We will discuss it, Science World. We will discuss it. Look up the 10-minute trader here on YouTube, or watch live stream from 5:30 to 8:30. You've got a good strategy. Okay. Glory. You guys are funny. So, kind of to switch subjects here just for a second. What do you think about the United States bombing the living hell out of Iran's nuclear facilities? What do you think? What are your thoughts on it? Are we going to war? Are we going to war? Are we going to need mine reconnaissance drones? Obviously, with no lights. I would take the lights off for that. Probably print it in black, you know? Tell the military, hey, got something for you. You know how they were using drones in Ukraine? Much, much bigger. Yeah, they'll probably stop the oil. But, I mean, so what? I think the president was probably aware that that might happen. I think they were aware of the fact that that was a possibility, that they would stop the oil, and he's probably got something in the works to protect us from that. I think that was always a consideration. I don't think they sat down in the Situation Room and went, "We're going to do this. Let's not worry about the oil situation afterwards." No, I think they probably weighed all of that when they went in, or before they decided to go in. Well, I mean, what decision do you make? I mean, I get that you disagree, which is totally fine. But, Chris, I have to ask. I mean, what would you have done? Do you wait? Because think about this. On October 7th, there was a terrorist attack in Israel. I think this is where all this kicked off. I mean, they've been fighting for thousands of years. We know that, back and forth. But that was between Gaza and the militants that were supplied by Iran through Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations. So we know Iran was behind it to destabilize the area. So if they get a nuclear weapon, what are they going to do with it? If they enrich enough plutonium to make a nuclear weapon, what are they going to do with it? They're going to use it for more terrorism. We bombed their nuclear facilities. They're still launching missiles into Israel. So if they had a nuke, they'd use it. You know that. The administration also knows that a majority of the oil comes from there. I don't think that they went into this going, we're going to jack up the oil prices if we do this, let's do it. I think they have a contingency. I honestly do. Okay, so you guys are getting it. All right. As long as you guys understand each other in the chat, I don't want anybody getting cross signals. Uh, Plenty of adversaries have nuclear capacity capability, but haven't used them before. Well, yeah, that's because they know exactly what would happen if they did. Tit for tat, right? What would the response be? It had to be an appropriate response. See, it always comes down to here's a terrorist attack or a strike, and they want to do a measured response. That just drags the situation out longer. Why do you want to do a measured response to their attack? You don't do a measured response. When you get into a fight in the street, do you give a measured punch back to the person who attacked you? No. You lay them out flat so they're no longer a threat. That's how it works. You learn it on the streets. That's how it works. They attacked. They're enriching uranium. I think we should have used something heavier. I think we should have obliterated the entire area. I think at this point we should be selling authentic uranium glass from Iran on eBay. That's what I think should be happening right now. Besides, you and I both know anyone who's got any oil in this country or in this world is going to get a healthy dose of democracy, and then we're going to have the oil. So it's no big deal. I mean, think about it. Aria, hello, how are you? Or Araya. I don't know how to pronounce it. Did I say it right the first time? Don't want to offend anyone by getting their names wrong, but I'm going to be honest with you, I can't pronounce half these. And somebody up there is speaking in a different language. ATA. You're going to have to translate that, brother. This is America. Press 1. Oh, I understand. All right. I understand. I barely speak English myself. It's either good English or bad English. Bad English is worse English. I'm from California. And to be honest, I hate it. I wish it was in an area where it's, there's open plains. We're surrounded by deserts not deserts, sorry. Scratch that. I hate deserts. A plain where there's mountains in the background and there's snow and it's cold there. And during the summer months, it's not going to get up to 115 degrees. I don't like that. I hate it. Yep. Born and grew up in the armpit of California. Am I Jewish? No, I'm not Jewish. Just a beard. Why does everyone say that? It's like now you see somebody with a beard as they ask you if you're Muslim or they ask you if you're Jewish. No. I mean, the Vikings had beards too. And my grandfather is Ragnar Lothbrok, 31st great grandfather, by the way, according to Ancestry. The glasses with the beard. Well, I gotta be able to see. If I walk up with a hat on or something I get it, but no, not Jewish. This is I'm Christian, but not Jewish. Nobody likes Christians either. This is where everyone bails on the chat right now. You ever notice how they try to demonize something that they don't like in the media? Like they take Christian and what do? They put nationalist behind it, and it's like, why? What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that we want to take everything over and make it our? I mean, it's ridiculous the way that they do it. The media just sucks, you know. Look how many people took the vaccine, you know, and now look at all the proof coming out about it. That's all I'm saying. Hey Chris, how's it going? Yes, toddlers are toddlers. The OG Christian. There you go. Well, Christ gave the keys to the church to Peter and said, upon this rock I will build my faith or build my church, and that was his faith in Christ. That's what he meant, and that's pretty much the beginning of it right there. And I still don't understand why the Vatican has to be like its own like little tiny country separated from everyone when it's supposed to be something that's, Christianity's for the world. But what do I know, right? A Hebrew Jewish guy playing a guitar. He looked just like me. It's the beard, man. Is it the beard? Do I have to change? Do I have to put on sunglasses instead so you get more of a ZZ Top vibe? He said Iran was weeks away from a nuke. That was 2012. Well, I mean, if you look at the clips from the recent presidents and the candidates, Barack, Hillary, all of them said that, even Biden said that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And then you get somebody in office who goes, okay, you said Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. We're going to make sure of it. So the one person that does it now is some sort of like horrible dictator or something like that, just because all he did was do what every one of the other Democrats before him told the entire world, that Iran could not have a nuclear weapon. How many times have you heard it in history? And then everyone goes, oh, I can't believe he actually did. Trump actually did it. He's bringing us into World War III. If it wasn't him, it was going to be somebody else. The only thing is, the administration before that was nothing but talking heads. Trump comes in and he brought balls into the Oval Office, and he actually dropped the freaking bombs and stopped them from doing what they were doing, because you and I both know that they funded terrorist organizations. It's only a matter of time before a decent amount of enriched uranium went out and there was a dirty bomb that goes off somewhere. You and I both know that. For someone to sit here and say, oh yeah, well yeah, they've been close to it for years, but they never did it. It's because they already knew what the U.S. would do if they tried it. And instead of and now, because of the situation with Israel, they've been emboldened to go ahead and make their presence known to the world. So they were going to use it the moment they had the chance. Okay? Bottom line, the moment they had the chance, they were going to use it. Whether it be a dirty bomb or an actual nuke on an ICBM. Doesn't matter, they were going to do it. Look at Kim Jong-un. I mean, he's lobbing missiles out into the ocean close to Japan, scaring the crap out of everybody, and nobody wants to do anything about him. We should. We should. You know, and Russia's not going to be stupid enough to drop their hat into the ring because they don't want a nuclear war either. They're too busy trying to keep every one of their soldiers alive on the front line in Ukraine, which is ironic because as strong as Russia says they are, they're getting decimated on the front line by Ukraine. Yes, the United States Army. Yes, I was in the military. I've seen a lot of stuff go down. And I know what happens when they serve steak and lobster. I already know. And now all these millennials and all of these youngsters that grew up, virtue signaling and all this other crap and saying that, women can do what men can do and everything else. It's like, congratulations, you're all now part of the draft. So let's see how quickly women decide to go back to the kitchen after this one. I'm glad Trump's in office. I'm glad he finally went ahead and did what every other freaking Democratic talking head said that they needed to do. Just for votes. Just for votes. We're never going to allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And then they didn't do jack shit about it because all they wanted was the oil. When there's already other forms of energy out there, but who am I? If we drop the fossil fuel market, then they lose their control over us with any kind of sustainable free energy, not even free energy, but even sustainable energy on a local scale. And that's the thing. They want it to be on oil because oil controls everything. Everything. But, hey, whatever. They talk. Democrats talk. The left talks. The right takes action when it comes to the security of the nation. That much is obvious. Yeah, but Japan's our ally. You see how that worked? See, before they attacked us, then we went ahead and dropped Little Boy and the other one. And look, now they're allies. You see, the thing about allies is you have to cook them properly before they're any good. Yeah, Japan's median age is 70. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. There was this nuclear scientist out there in Japan, actually, he was an older guy. He was a survivor of the first attack at Hiroshima. And he discovered a way to mitigate some of the radiation poisoning and mutations that happened. And it was totally by accident. And he said it was the second biggest surprise of his entire life. I'll let that one soak in for a little bit. Force works. That's all there is to it. In this world, force works. Everyone here in the United States is too comfortable. They figure, we're protected by law. Citizens don't need firearms. Only the police do. But that makes no logical sense whatsoever. The reason why no one would invade the United States is because even if you got past the military and the law enforcement, you'd still have 300 million Americans that are armed. And I think it was an emperor in Japan that said we'd never invade the United States because behind every blade of grass there would be a man with a gun. And they knew that going in. They knew that going in. There's no way we can invade their homeland. No way. Weekly trading is interesting. If you're talking about the stock market, I follow it because it shows what's going on with the economy. But you know what? Realistically, you're not in control of it. I'm not in control of it. So who cares? You know, if this pulls us into a war, then it pulls us into a war. So what? We've been in some wars before. I've been in wars. People before me have been in wars. People after me will be in wars. It's always what it's going to be about. Always. Because humanity is stupid. Okay? They think everybody in the world thinks that they should be on the top. So they're always going to fight each other, or they're going to have ideological differences, and they're going to fight each other about that. You want to know why? Because the human race, still toddlers. Toddlers with nuclear weapons. So let it rain. Let it rain. Okay, the channel is about... Hold on a second. Let me read your question, Aaron. Engineer, drone design. Is this your full-time job? It actually is my full-time job because of the fact that, like I said, mentioned before, I'm on vet benefits. So I put in what I can when I can afford it to get more PETG, more supplies. And I'm doing this as a job because no one wants to really hire me because of the condition of my leg and my spine. So, yeah. I'll monetize the channel. I made it past, I made partner a little while ago, so I have memberships available and all that super chat stuff and stickers, which I have no idea how to use. And yeah, this is my job. This is what I do. And I want to continue to bring content to people. So the more of you that join up, you know, the more it helps me out. And it keeps the channel going, and I appreciate it. And I can build more things and create more things and design different things. And I'm not really here to sell a product other than the channel, the entertainment, that value. And then eventually when I get viable aircraft finished, like the Shrike, the EF drone, then that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to put those STL files out for everybody and give them a components list, and let them go print it or have some fun. That's the whole point. On top of the research that I'm doing as far as this design is concerned, I'm wanting to do a lot of other stuff for just different designs of VTOL aircraft for fun. One of these fans, or two of these fans, I'm hoping will eventually push a jet that I want to build to close to hypersonic speeds. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it's a long road, but especially when you're working with only one X1 carbon at the moment, and you're trying your best to print everything out, especially when it takes a day and a half just to do half of the quarter of one of the body parts. Because this drone's footprint is 5 feet by 5 feet. Each fan is 340 millimeter, 11 blade fans spinning at damn near 10,000 RPMs, 75 volts, 18 S packs, MAD components, 120 amp ESCs that are 18S, so it can handle 75 volts. The motor I'm going to use, that's a 75 volt motor, high torque. Basically, the idea is that I build a big ass EDF drone out of skateboard motors, some bearings, and some PETG. And if anybody's seen the tests that I did on the table here, through some of the torture tests, there's one called the torture test you can see where I kind of ran it to death to check its limitations. And then I did another 11 blade run on one of the shorts. There's a bunch of little 170 millimeter ones that I did where I was doing gearing and things like that. And it's just fun for me to experiment with that. And then the idea is to get this thing completed so I can fly it. Yeah, it is a massive drone. Trust me. Yeah, I hear you. It's a massive drone. Ember eVTOL. I could probably do a product design. Yeah. The idea behind all of this, though, is that we have. Um, Elaborate on what I'm suggesting things for. Oh yeah, that's a good question. Um, okay, hold on. What are you? What were you talking about as far as? Sounds like you already know what I mean. Over 15,000 last year. If I missed the first part of that, elaborate. Hold on, let me see. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I hope the channel grows too. It's been growing slowly, but it's more of a niche content, so a lot of people don't. Um, a lot of people don't want to watch just the science behind the build. They just want to see the flight. And that's the issue that you come to when it comes to YouTube. Everyone wants everything spoon fed to them very quickly so they can move on. And that's not what this channel is about. This is about the process of getting to where, we have a maiden flight, successful flight worthiness test of this drone. It's going to be 70 pounds total. It's going to take 28 kilograms of PETG to print the entire thing. So you take that, the electronics, the power system, and everything, you're looking roughly 70 pounds. And the interesting part about that is when this takes flight, it's going to have a massive amount of thrust. So the idea is to make this do an initial flight worthiness test with this design. And I have the ductwork. The entire thing's been designed already. It's just me printing the parts that's going to take forever because one printer, huge motors, huge body. It's going to take up this entire table to put it together. The electronics, all that other stuff. It's going to take a while to build it. In the meantime, I want to do smaller stuff like this, maybe make it bigger, go out and fly. I'll give you guys some flight time so you can see what's going on. And then eventually fly that one like I flew the Shrike on the V10 Maiden. So, I'm basically at this point just trying to get this built. Once it's built, then there'll be a major flight test. And it's going to be the defining point for this engine to basically see where we're going to go from there. And the great part about I built it modular in a modular sense so that I can pull the motor mount off. If I want to put a different motor on, has a different KV or a different bolt pattern, I can pull all that off of there pretty easy and then add another motor that intersects with the same collet that runs the main shaft. And that's the idea about the modularity of the system. So you can pop a motor off and change the power system. And that gives you the opportunity to go, okay, well, that first motor didn't work. It got too hot, didn't give me the high enough RPMs. What do I need to do next? My power source is 75 volts. Do I move up to 24S, go for 100 volts? And then get a motor that can push 100 volts at 110, 150 kV, because that's going to give me more RPMs. This particular fan operates much more efficiently at higher RPMs than it does at lower RPMs. So it's really stable at the hub, but um, it requires a lot more amps if you want to get that speed. So, but this one really isn't about top speed. This one's about what weight it can carry and its flight worthiness. Once that's done, then there'll be modifications to the connection arms for the SAR-op drone that I'm trying to put together that will potentially be something that can help other people. Okay. Shabir, what help do you need? Okay, you keep saying I'm answering you. What's up? Tell us what's up. Glory, keep on this one. I don't know what you. Let's see what Shabir has to say. Oh yeah, carbon fiber is definitely an option for sure. Um, you know, once I get the body printed, then I can basically carbon fiber. I can use the sections as carbon fiber molds, and that will give me an opportunity to later on, if I want to, I can print out the mold and then do the carbon fiber wrap around it, do the vacuum bag thing. But I've got to get all those supplies together. The duct work can be done the same way. It's just a matter of taking the duct work, CAD work that I have done and making small adjustments so that it can accommodate however thick the wrap is going to be around the carbon fiber, and then basically do it that way. And then make my carbon fiber parts. The blades, I don't want carbon fiber. Ultimately, I want them machined out of a 7075 aluminum. The internal main shaft, I want, it can be aluminum as well, but I want the center section to be probably, well, I may not have to go with a stronger alloy because I'm going to be using tapered roller bearings to ensure center stability and to make sure that there's no movement on that axis so that we don't have any wobble in the blade. So I would love to have all this stuff machined out of aluminum, but again, that's an expensive prospect. So that's something that will happen in the future. So being able to prove the flight worthiness of this system using a completely 3D printed system, and this all came off of one printer. So I mean, if you watch the last video I put up, there's a whole. I mean, it's 30 minutes long, but it shows how I basically went from just the hub, the center section here, how I did all the blades, how I did the outer casing, the main stator behind that, the hub, the bearing assembly, the whole 9 yards. So that'll give you an idea of how this system works. The frame, well, yeah, the frame is going to be carbon fiber. I do have a lot of carbon fiber tubes that are in there, but mainly it's just thin wall. On the body, it's mainly thin wall PETG print. So you're talking like 2 outer layers, tops, 4-5% gyroidal infill, which is just enough. And it's only because I want that structure around there so I can house the power systems, so I can house the hydrogen tanks eventually, and have platforms for different accessories like thermal cameras or FPV cameras or GoPros or when it goes to the SAROP version, you want to have a payload bay so you can drop down communications and first aid to trapped victims. This kind of drone can go places other drones can't. That's the idea. So yeah, a lot of it was motivated by the fact that the drones we do have can get into places, but I mean, under the right circumstances, this one could go between small gaps in trees and mountains and things like that. And even if it bumped into something while it was searching, it wouldn't hurt it because the blades are all internal. And with the obstacle avoidance sensors that I plan on implementing in the next stages after the flight worthiness test, then we're going to have that obstacle avoidance. We're going to have that protection of the blades. We're going to have the ability to get places, ground mapping LiDAR for rescue crews to get to stranded victims, that kind of thing, and pretty much be a reconnaissance drone that can not only help with search and rescue, but get in there and actually get to people and drop supplies and things like that, and not be in danger of some of the obstacles that would happen in some situations, buildings, poles, wires, that kind of thing, branches. You don't have to really worry about that rubbing across the outside of the ductwork when you're trying to fly into a place. Realistically, that's the idea behind this. Glory. Oh man. so maybe you got to put a sign out front though that says mowing lawn, clothes are optional. Make it like a lawn care retreat for nudists. Yeah, there you go. Elephant grass. Glory. Well, you go check your mail, like with no clothes on. You're like, well, the wilderness, the heck with it. I was gonna swing my way over to the mailbox. Oh man. Boy, that's too funny. That's just too funny. Wow. So, I hope everyone has been enjoying the chat. I really do, and I hope that the projects that I do on this channel, at the very least, entertain or even inspire some of you to do something you want to do. And that's the whole point about these chats. It's about getting to know the public. It's about welcoming everybody in and saying, it doesn't matter where you're from, your viewpoints and stuff like that. It's about the content. Now, I might have my political views when we're on these lives, but I don't hate people. Even when the trolls drop in, I enjoy it because it's entertaining. Honestly, I like it when the trolls come back because it makes the conversation fun. But yeah, that's the whole idea behind this. Is just we kick back, we chill, we relax, we talk about whatever, and we continue just because I have a lot. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've told you I've got a lot of time to wait between printing jobs. So until I get a second printer where I can speed things up, then it's basically it's going to take time. We all know how 3D printers are, and even with something as fast and as accurate as the X1 Carbon, it still takes a considerable amount of time when you're printing something this size. And I do encourage you to go, if you're new here, to go watch the videos of these spin-ups. You can't miss it. It's either going to be labeled 340 millimeter, Shrike Ultra Drone, Shrike Concept Drone playlist is where it all began, so check that out. There's a bunch of other playlists on there, a bunch of other content. I have no idea how many videos I have. I know it's a couple thousand at this point. I even tried gaming in the evening, Elden Ring. That's always fun. Probably gonna do some Red Dead later. Just because Glory's been kind of walking me through it. It's like he's like the Red Dead master of like the planet. So yeah, he knows his stuff when it comes to that. And on when I was playing the game, I would always try to do the missions and do everything the right way, and then I would screw it up somehow. Like I'd accidentally shoot the wrong person in the game, and then all of a sudden now the police are after me because there's witnesses going off to get the police in the game. You know how Red Dead Redemption goes. It's a great game, but you defend yourself in the middle of getting attacked, and somebody reports you to the police. Now you're a criminal. I guess the whole point of the game was that you were criminals to begin with, but so I try my best to do everything the right way. I end up screwing it up, and then I just said, I say, oh, the heck with this mission. I'm just going to go off and cause havoc. But I'm trying to tone that back. I've completed a couple missions so that I can get farther in the game. And I've stopped annihilating NPCs. So I'm trying my best here. Farming simulator. Well, you gotta really get into it. I mean, it's not. I don't see how it's a farming simulator. I mean, I get what you're saying. You've got to go out and get your own supplies and things like that. But at least each one of the components within that leads to a recipe of crafting that you can do to kind of accomplish something in the game, and then unlock more of the storyboard as you go. Honestly, I don't see how it compares to a farming game. Simulator. That's just my opinion. What's the lightest material you can make it out of that's still sturdy? I would say carbon fiber. I like the idea of doing carbon fiber because I can take each one of the parts from Fusion and I can turn it into a mold easy enough, and then print the mold. It's just a matter of how I do it, and then I can take that mold and make either carbon fiber, carbon fiber blades, carbon fiber hub, all that other stuff. But and it would be lighter for sure. And I do have carbon fiber spars inside the actual body. They're 20 millimeter outer diameter and 16 inner diameter. I need the strength because of the size of the drone. Those are all incorporated into the PETG to kind of help mitigate weight. But ultimately, yeah, carbon fiber would be the best way to go. I just don't have the setup for that yet, as far as doing carbon fiber stuff. I'd have to buy a lot of stuff to get started, which I will do eventually. But in these tests, realistically, it's about what can I do with the printer and get it in the air with components you can buy on Amazon. So that was the main purpose behind this. One of the main purposes. I'm sure what they still do. Let's see. Like back in the day. Honeycomb aluminum design. Yeah, I mean, I can see where that would give it strength for sure in aluminum. How, but how is that comparable to a printed object? Obviously, it's stronger because it's aluminum, but if it's a thin wall and honeycomb, it may have given it strength, but it could still suffer damage. And I would think that if there was any significant damage or a hit on the body or the external frame, now you've got this aluminum part that you have to kind of bend back out into shape and hope that it stays that way. The reason why it's, I'm working with 3D printing is because it's the only thing I've got to work with at the moment besides the MPCNC, but that's mainly for cutting out aluminum heat sinks and things like that I may need at this point. And at least with the 3D printing, if something breaks, I can always reprint it and replace it. Yeah, I agree. I mean, and I could do a a generative 3D design that I could have printed out of aluminum, and it would be lightweight. How much more lightweight in comparison to the 3D printed counterpart, I don't know. Accuracy though, that's a big factor because I did notice that when I had a piece, a gear system that I was working with, and that I made in Fusion for one of my smaller motors, that I went and had it printed from PCB ways, and it came back so out of whack as far as the dimensions go, I couldn't use it. So some of that stuff has to be precision machined. Doing a honeycomb filled structure with a thin wall aluminum, that could be, to titanium might even be lighter, I don't know. But that all comes down to the expense. It's just the expense, really. So what can I do now? Well, obviously, I can 3D print. I don't have any other machines than that. And with the price, and I've already outsourced or tried to outsource some of the parts that I did want in aluminum to other companies like PCB Ways and some other manufacturers, and they want thousands of dollars to have these things printed. If I did the whole drone that way, I could just afford to buy my own printer and do it out of metal, considering the cost of what they're trying to charge for each piece. It's ridiculous. They corner the market so bad on it that, and I've got to invest in a big metal 3D printer if I want to do that myself. And then realistically, if it's not dimensionally accurate, I might as well have a CNC, because at least I can do it. I can CAD, I can send out the tool paths to a CNC, and I know I'm going to get what's on the screen, to tolerances, and not have to worry about, sort of laser sintering or 3D, laser printed metals and things like that. There's always going to be an offset. Even with FDM, when I'm doing thermoplastics, I still have to compensate for the offsets because the model line itself is going to have a 0.1 and a 0.1 variant on either side. So you have to take all that into consideration, plus the material you're using. Sometimes they don't expand as much, or they don't print with a tolerance. Everyone, like the Creality PETG, printed with a tighter tolerance than the Bamboo Lab PETG. So, and it's the same settings, practically the same heat and everything else. It's just the formulation that they use. So there's a lot that goes into it. If I could afford a metal 3D printer, yeah, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Trev, how you doing? I was thinking about when I 3D printed a structure fractional load bearing things. Let's see. I have the infill overlap the wall. Yeah, I always use overlap because it makes it stronger. Oh yeah, yeah. I always do the overlap, make it part of the wall, especially the interior wall. So you have it overlap the interior wall and the exterior wall comes around and makes it look clean on the outside, but you still have that strength and that bonding. So that tends to work. So I mean, everything's working fine as far as the printing is going. It's just a matter of having, getting more. I've got to get more material in, and before I run out, and I've got to start doing the duct work. I want to spin this fan up, but I'm waiting for a bolt kit to come in because I need a bolt kit. I had to order a new bolt kit because I need to take these old 4mm out that I have that I was kind of fitting everything together with, sort of a dry fit. And then I'm going to make everything permanent. Then we're going to do the duct work, but I'm going to try and spin the motor up on the bucket before I do the duct work. And I'd like to do it again afterwards. But after the duct work's done for this one, and the final bolting together happens, we're going to run a test at 48 volts, not the 75. And this just for structural integrity because it keeps the RPMs down to about 5,000. So that's what I'm going to end up doing, is running it at 48. And then after that test is done, then I'm going to put the ductwork on. We're going to test it again at 75 volts, which will give me 9,800 RPMs. If everything stays stable, then we will go from there. As a matter of fact, I tried printing the first quarter of the body, but I had a first layer defect on my engineering plate, and it kind of screwed it up. So this would have been a day and a half of print, and I realized it was 3 walls thick instead of 2, which is not what I wanted, and the infill was a little bit too much. But I wasn't here to stop it in time. So I woke up the next morning, and this had fallen apart. So this is like half of one. This is 1/4 of 1/4 of the body frame, and you see where it'll duplicate itself on the other side, and you've got the holes here for the carbon fiber spars, and then those will mate everything together here, and then the motors sit off today. Anyway, it's hard to explain with something I had to cancel the print on, but I hate wasting material because something like that happened. I need to recycle, but I keep all the wasted material because I know one of these days I'm going to have a recycler, and then I'm going to have a whole bunch of PETG I can use. But yeah, it's like when you wake up to something, like you start a print, you go to bed, you wake up, and the thing's like spaghettied all over the place and still going, and I was like, oh man, I need to turn it around and print it so that if it's facing the camera instead of being blocked by the model. So if it does that spaghetti failure thing, then I don't have to worry about it, waste more material by keeping going. It'll stop it, it'll pause it. So that's something you got to consider. If you're printing a model on the X1 Carbon and the model is blocking any supports that might fall, make sure you orient that to where the camera is looking directly at those supports. Because if something happens and the model is blocking it, it's going to keep printing, and then the AI is not going to stop the print. So that's something to consider if you have an X1 Carbon. Other than that, realistically, the idea behind everything I'm doing is just going to be getting the 4 of these done, getting the ductwork done, getting the body done, and then we are going. This light system is going to go in it. It's going to look really cool as it spins, especially with that white light that goes around. Yeah, gotta love that. And then the body's going to have lighting in it too, which is why I wanted a clear PETG. So that's what we're doing. It just looks so good, looks really good. So if these are the kind of things that you guys are interested in, anybody that's new that's dropped by, please subscribe to the channel because there's going to be more. There is a video out there. Yes, it's a long. There we go. There we go. Is that good? Everybody see it? Yay, there we go. Okay. No, what I was saying was, what was I saying? Anyway, I mean, the fan's huge as you consider the size of it. And you got your motor mount back here where the collet kind of, there's a collet here, a metal collet, and that's where the motor mounts to here. I take this off, mount the motor to this here. But behind the heat sink that sits here, and then that heat sink fans out this way so that these smaller torrential blades here actually cool the front end of the outrunner down and disperse the heat much better. BW Vlogs, hi, how you doing? Welcome to the channel. So yes, this is the first one. It is complete. There is a video on this. It's a longer video, but it shows the whole process of me getting up to this point right here. And even some of the ductwork that I was printing, but I had to make some changes. So more wasted PETG. But it's going to look good. It's going to look really good, I think. And if you're asking about this section here, this is the part that goes right here and attaches to the body. So the lights go around all the way around and continue. But this part actually is where the ductwork comes out here and attaches to the body corner. The ductwork is huge because that goes from, you know, it has the airfoil scoop to smooth out the air as it goes into the turbine. And then the duct goes out to about probably around here and has a cutout at an angle, just like the Shrike concept drone that I had on the playlists. You can check that out. And basically the ductwork is part of the landing system. So that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to land on its ductwork, but it has the cutouts so that we don't have that suction to the ground that happens. You know, when you're trying to take off with an EDF that's like flat on the ground, which is why you'll see that where I made that change in the Shrike concept drone, in the Shrike concept playlist. If you look for the V10 Maiden video, you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll see the cutouts that I have in the duct where the EDFs were stationed. So, yeah, and these small blades here are specifically for the cooling duct that's going to go around the motor and the heat sink that I'm printing right now. So, yep, that's where we're at, fellas. Ladies and gents, that's where we are. And I think we had, what do we have? We got more boxes of stuff. This is like one section of the ductwork. I have to make some changes to it because it was a little bit too close to the bottom. But you can kind of see, even from the outside, it's going to look pretty cool. So as this entire fan is spinning, I mean, this is going to be massive. This is one motor out of 4 that I have to build. But yeah, that's going to look good, I think. That's going to be tricky looking in the air, I'll tell you that. Guaranteed. I don't know. What do you think? Okay. So yeah, I've been doing some work on the ductwork. I had to make an adjustment. Again, it's all about extrusion and the extrusion multiplier and how that works. So you'll design something in the CAD program that fits perfectly, but then you have to take into consideration the extrusion width on either side of the model line is going to be 0.1 millimeters if you're doing a 0.2 millimeter line width. So the actual model line is like an infinite number. It doesn't exist. It's just a guide.
So when you're designing something, you have to take that into consideration, which is why on the video that I just posted, you'll see how I had to tap all these blades into place. None of this is glued together. This is all friction fit. Every one of these blades have always been friction fit, just tapped into place. And even at 5,000 RPMs, they never came apart. I mean, we have the bigger fan here. This was the main one that did most of my test work on. And I cut down every other blade because the fan resistance was a little high for the motor and it would overheat it. So I decided to get more RPMs by doing an 11 blade configuration and then using short cooling fins to basically push through over around the outrunner to keep it nice and cool. So imagine a flying wing size for 2 of these. Yes, I am imagining that because I wanted to do an SR72 Dark Star model to see how fast it could go with 2 of these motors. It'd be a fairly large model, but not to scale. It would actually make a lot more room inside for these motors and run 2 of them. That would be just an epic engine to run inside of a jet. So that was my first initial test fan right there. And that's what some of the videos you see in the 340 millimeter test, you'll see this fan. There is a 12 blade version that I had here. Losing pieces. I've got to print 2 more white blades because I want to be consistent here. Because a couple of them had a crack from when a bearing came loose and flew up and hit it. So this one here is a test fan. This is the one that I'm going to torture. This is the one that we're going to set up and we're going to put it on the bucket because it's the only thing I have that's big enough to actually hold the motor. So basically I end up having to put it up here and then I have to run chains to hold everything down. And then everything's held down by chains. And then that's how I test the motors to make sure that they're, that they don't fly apart on me as I'm spinning them. This one's just going to be really cool to watch going. Because I'm going to have the lights going on it and everything when we're testing it. We're going to have some fun with this one. So, yeah, well, this one's not bad. It's not too bad. Because all I have to do is print one long, one short, and tap it back into place. And this fan will be ready to go again. That's the beautiful part about this being a modular system. Is that if you lose a blade, you can just tap 2 more. And you're good to go. So, yeah, I mean, there's a million different ways you could have done this, but I mean, even this right here is a vertical stabilization bearing. It's actually, there's a 6204 bearing in here that the front of this main shaft that goes through the entire blade and through the main shaft here, actually connects to the front of that bearing. And that's so that when this is at a bank angle, that the weight of the blade itself, if it is a problem at all, isn't going to be off-centered at all. So we wanted to make sure that the front of this was stabilized so that you have a totally stable spinning blade with 2 bearing points to balance on if necessary. So, and with this motor pushing it, it's definitely got the power for sure. So, but other than that, that's where we're going. I'm going to try and get out a little bit later this afternoon, and we're flying that wing over there. So we want to get this. This is also, I got batteries charged for this. We are going to be running at 4S, so that's going to be an interesting thing because running at 4S isn't something that I was planning on doing. I just don't have a 3S for it. It can run on, I've seen them fly it on 4S and 3S, so we're going to go ahead and run it on 4S. It's either going to fly really well or it's going to head straight for the ground. Either way, I'm going to show the video to you when it's all done. So that's what I'm going to try and get out and do here in an hour or two. And I'll get that video posted, so that'll be fun. But other than that, you know, 4S, I think it'll work well. I think it'll be exciting because it's, I mean, this is a little 4100 kilovolt motor and it's got a tiny little pusher on it. But everything works. So we're good to go. I just feel like it's going to fly once. But hey, if we only get one flight, we get one flight, right? The great part about this is being a printed plane is I could, and the printer that I have, I can make it twice as big, which would be even more fun. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a little screamer, all right. It even gets to the point where I got to set voltage cutoff because it's too much for that motor. Oh, excuse me. Oh, my back cracked when that happened. Good Lord, I'm old. Oh, sitting in the chair too long. Whew. Excuse me. Thank you. So, yeah, that's where we're going with this. I didn't expect a lot of traffic on this live. It was just more or less a random, I'm going to go do a live and explain what's going on, what we're doing. And then I'm just going to keep printing and going from there. Waiting for more PETG to get here and whatnot. I tell you. I don't know if anything else would print up any clearer than the Bamboo Lab PETG. Does anybody have any recommendations for PETG, translucent, that I print at basically full infill on the blades that's clearer than that? Because usually PETG is translucent, but it doesn't really come out really clear. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you could put in an acetone bath or whatever, but that would mess up the integrity of the blades. I could probably spray it with a lacquer or something. I don't know. Well, I'm glad you got to see the progress. So, we're getting there. We're getting there. Watch that video if you want to. It is a longer one. It's 30 minutes, but it goes from just parts all the way to a finished fan like this and kind of explains the process along the way. Not a lot of people are watching it. And that happens with videos. A lot of people watch the shorts more than they do the videos. Go figure, it's the world we live in. But be prepared for this flight here, and be prepared for more info on this fan and motors and the body as it comes out. As I build it, because I am not going to stop, I'm going to keep going because I'm fully invested at this point. So, with that, I would like to say thank you very much for stopping by. I hope you guys like this fan. It's a beautiful fan. If you can imagine 4 of these in a completely lit up body in the same manner and with the ductwork I showed you, then you kind of know where I'm going with that. This one we're going to destroy with a kielbasa after I print 2 blades, and that'll be our test fan. You know, I mean, that's sort of a simulated bird strike if the bird strike was a small dolphin. But maybe it's overkill. But hey, what the heck, right? You only live once. Twice sometimes. But other than that, I want to thank everyone for dropping by. If you like what you see, subscribe. You can join now and become a member. Don't forget to use those super chats if you get a chance. And stickers, because I haven't seen one yet. But join up, because I'm going to have videos eventually that nobody else is going to be able to see except members. I know it sounds like a dick move, but what else am I going to do? Anyway, other than that, I want to thank everyone for stopping by. You have a wonderful Monday. I know it's a Monday. Everyone says, don't ever tell me to have a wonderful Monday. Try to have a wonderful Monday. And I will see you all again soon with a flight and with more updates on the Shrike Ultra build. You don't want to miss it. Thank you all for dropping by, and I will see you all again soon.